Hello?
Hello, can you hear us?
I can hear you,
I can hear
Roman.
you.
Hello.
Hi,
Okay,
Roman,
so
we can hear you.
very good. Thank you for joining. And can you see us? Because I don't see the screen here. Can you see the video?
Yes, I think we can.
Anthony, hello. I can hear your voice. Nice to hear you. So first of all, thank you for joining, and I'm glad you received our message on the email. I'll probably start with saying that all the terrible things that you have heard about this situation in Ukraine and that American intelligence has been warning about, they are really, unfortunately, happening in Ukraine. And nobody wanted to believe that until the last moment. For Travelite, it was we were just trying to be as precautionary as possible, and I was supposed to be accompanying a group of farmers on Thursday. The flight was to happen to depart at 9:47 a.m. I took my family to Western Ukraine, to the place where we were born, and then returned to Kyiv and was expecting to fly out with the group in the morning. But when we woke up at 5 a.m., we heard that terrible message that Putler, I'm calling him only Putler because he's doing what Hitler was doing right now, and even in a worse case, in a worst manner. So he announced a war to Ukraine and he started bombing all the airports, all the military locations. That was the beginning. So of course, nobody flew to any other country. All the group returned to their families. And the only more or less peaceful place was the Western Ukraine. You know that the neighboring oblast to the European Union. And right now, so after we went there, the worst things were happening in the eastern cities and in the south as well. I have prepared some photos here. I'm not sure if you are seeing the Ukrainian flag right now, are you?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
good.
sir.
So that was just a second day, 22nd of February. You see below the building, this is the building, and on the left from it is my older son's school. So his schoolmates, they live in this building, and you see that comparison that was made. I found it on internet. So after they started bombing the military objects, I don't know, maybe by mistake or maybe on purpose, but now we are almost sure that it was on purpose. They started hitting the civil objects. And that was just the start. That was 26th of February. Here is the school. That's the picture of Kharkiv, the city that is one of the most suffering from these missiles. And we'll talk about those missiles more because that's another story. This is the school, and you see that missile hit inside. For you to know that one of the first civil places that were destroyed were the hospital where the mothers are giving birth to children. Also the schools and all the airports, even non-military airports, just the civil ones as well. This is the current situation of the military actions in Ukraine. You see all the borders with Russia are hot points. And Crimea, Ukrainian peninsula, which was annexed in 2014, is also kind of like a center from where they're trying to take up Kherson. This is the southern city. The reason why they want so badly this city is because after they annexed Crimea, they got shut off by the water supply from Ukraine, from the Dnieper River. And that was the set of channels that was built in Soviet Union to support the agriculture and all the industry in Crimea. And there is such a law: the occupied territories by the enemy are the supplying, all the supplies in those territories are the responsibility of the aggressor. So they were blackmailing Ukraine. They have been blackmailing to give them water there, and they did nothing to support their citizens. They were only just accumulating military forces there. So now we see that a lot of troops are coming from there. I have farmers in Kherson and in Odessa, all over those oblasts. They all are shocked, as well as the people. First of all, they are shocked because being so close to Russia, they were not expecting such a knife in the back from their so-called neighbors, brothers. Russia is using the policy of Russians right now is to accuse the opponent of the things they are doing themselves. Fact number one, they are naming that Ukrainians and Russians are brothers, but they are killing their brothers. Fact number two, they're accusing Ukrainians of the Nazism, but we've never had any problems with equal rights of all the nations, all the languages in Ukraine. Vice versa, in Russia, there is a Nazism team, or like the group of Nazi, which is registered, and they praise this cult. So right now they are mixing the notions. There is a notion nationalist, which is an active patriot. If you look into the dictionary, patriot and nationalist, they are positive notions. But Nazis, that's what they are blaming Ukraine of. This is non-present in Ukraine at all. That is what was during the World War II. And Nazis were killing civil people. They were destroying, they were doing the massive extinctions of the nations they didn't like, the Jewish, the Gypsies, and many more. So the actions that Russians are taking to Ukraine right now are very similar to what Nazis were doing during the World War II. For example, I mentioned you the civil buildings. That's number one fact. Number two fact, they were doing false evacuation of the people. So the buses were driving in the downtowns of the cities, the most devastated cities by them. They were collecting ladies and saying, we are going to evacuate you. But in fact, they were taking those buses with ladies and children in front of the tanks to be protected from Ukrainian regular army and to move forward to attack the Ukrainian army. Fact number two, they have uh, they have been hitting these just regular, we call them bad blocks, the blocks of cities where people's flats are situated. No infrastructure for military or no plants, factories, nothing. Just the blocks of flats. And right now, they say they probably are off the missiles they were using before, but they started to use the missiles which are forbidden. And that's fact number 3, the vacuum missiles and other types that are forbidden by the international agencies. The reason why they're using that is either they want to cause harder destroy the damage, or just because they're off, they just run out of the regular ones and they're using those old ones from the Soviet times. Also, they are acting, for example, right now they supported the idea for negotiations. You know that at this very moment we are having the second round of negotiations, but during the first round, once it started, the negotiation started, a new massive attack of the missiles to Ukraine started at this very moment during the negotiations. Nobody does that. If the negotiations run, then everybody sees fire, not the Russians. They accelerate the fire. There are a lot of numbers of how many people have already died in Ukraine. The recent numbers, we are not hearing how many Ukrainians died, and we understand why the news agencies do not provide that information in order for us not to lose faith. But according to the statistics about the Russians, it is over 9,000 of soldiers. Majority of those were killed, and some of them were taken into like alive. And those who were taken as a hostage alive, they said that we didn't know we are coming here for war. We thought we were going for training. That was at the beginning, we were trying to believe them. Ukrainian army has even, you see here, sent a message to the mothers of those soldiers, please come and pick up your sons, because they didn't know they came to Ukraine to kill Ukrainians. But after the week of war, this legend doesn't look true right now, because they had with them those who were not the hostage was the right word, when the opponent is taken alive into jail during the war. So they had all the maps, all the information with them, the plan of action. So it is proved that they actually knew what they are doing. Also, how can you imagine the soldiers who are hitting the button of sending those missiles, the ballistic missiles? Don't they know that they are hitting the regular people, the regular civil cities? They have devastated Mariupol, Kherson, Kharkiv, Sumy, Chernihiv, a number of small, that's the million people cities with millions of people there. They are trying to get into Kyiv, and they are destroying all the smaller cities around, towns and villages around Kyiv. The people there have been without any supply of water, electricity, and connection for about at least 4 days. The biggest airplane in the world that is named Mriya was in that area, parked at the factory. So they just burned it down. Why? It wasn't a military plane, it was just a plane, a cargo plane. They have seized the Chernobyl station. And that's here we are moving to the threats to all the world. In my message, I mentioned that this is the war not only about Ukrainian integrity, territorial integrity, or Ukraine right to exist on the map of the world. It is almost the Third World War, because Russia is fighting against the dominance of democracy. They are trying to claim that their rule, the way they rule in their country, totalitarianism, this is the way it should be done in all other countries. And if they succeed conquering Ukraine, it will be like the case for all the other world, that anyone who is stronger can do that way. For example, we have the North Korea, we have China, maybe a different way. They have some kind of rights, but a number of other countries that United States have been not fighting with, but trying to hold them, Muslim countries. All of them will start also aggression towards their neighbors. And Chernobyl station, if it is blown up by the terrorists, by Russian terrorists at this moment, Ukrainian forces do not have access to this station. If it is blown, the catastrophe will be affecting Europe and also Russia and Ukraine, of course. Regarding the Putin, everybody is proving that he has gone mad. And the person with such a power being shut down in the corner, as we say, so he has no way out, because the sanctions, and thank you everyone for the sanctions and for the support with the supply, like the weapon supply, they are acting. Russia's economy is very rapidly approaching default, and he understands that there is no way for him. So if a suicider is deciding to die, and if that suicider is a terrorist, what do terrorists do? They explode in the places where there are a lot of people. So the risk here is that right now he is hidden in his bunker somewhere in the forests of Russia, but he has the control of the nuclear power. We understand that although American President Biden said that it is low, not that evident that he will be using it, but he is still fighting and he is losing his forces and he is approaching the end. So I don't know what should be the way out. We are hoping that he is inside people, that the people that are nearest to him will stop him. It will be a riot. It will be just his security will kill him there in that bunker. Because if that's not going to happen, the world will change that way that we cannot imagine. This is what Ukrainians are thinking about that war. Like I said, it's not only about our integrity. It's about the whole world map and the distributing of the forces and the right or wrong in the global manner. Regarding the more local things, there is a number of oblasts here you see on the west that are okay. They are hearing sirens and these alarms every day, at least 3 or 4 times. Over here, I wanted to show you how, that's the normal picture in the eastern towns. The missiles can be found, those that didn't explode can be found in the parks and on the pedestrians cross sidewalks. This is how the children are evacuated, and it's probably not a school, but they are listening to a story to calm them down. You can imagine what kind of effect this war is taking to the kids' psychology. This is my parents' place. This is how my kids were hiding in the shelter the first days when we came to Volyn Oblast. And by the way, the city where my parents lived was the one of the three where there was a military airport, and it was hit the very first hours after that Moran declared the war to Ukraine on Thursday. So right now we succeeded, me and I'm accompanying wives of our partners and our relatives to Germany, thanks to Mr. Rupert Lindermeyer. He promised to host us. Right now we are situated in Poland, just having a rest because it's a long drive, and we spent about 34 hours crossing the border. No driving, just standing in line. Also, we are thankful to all the religious companies and associations, religious people who are supporting the refugees. They were supporting by hot food, but by some drinks and supply on the border. They are taking care right now of the refugees to find a place to stay in Poland. We will drive further to Germany because we have arranged, and Mr. Lindelmeyer kindly promised us to find a spot. We hope it won't take long, because it looks like yesterday Ukrainian forces have shifted from the defending status to the counter-attacking stage. So the idea here is to stop and start push them back to the territorial boundaries that were present after the agreement that was made after the World War II. And that agreement said that the boundaries of the countries remain the same and nobody is attacking anybody. This was kind of like a peaceful treaty. And that peaceful treaty has been broken a number of times by Russia. It was done in Moldova. There is an appendix in Moldova that nobody is admitting out of the developed countries. The same situation is in Georgia. The same situation was in Chechnya. The same situation happened with Ukraine, with Crimea, and with the Eastern Ukraine. Now they wanted to take all Ukraine. So no treaties. There is a saying, and it seems to me it was Winston Churchill who said that, but I might be mistaken. The agreement signed with Russia is not worth even a paper on which it is signed. They do not fulfill any agreements. They do not follow the international law. They are accusing Ukrainians of some fake things which they themselves are creating and causing. For example, I just read in the news that they have these Grad, which is hail to be translated, systems. This is the truck with missiles that can that can fly about 50, 60, 70 kilometers, like 30, 40 miles. And they do not have the accurate targeting. They are just destroying everything. So it's a number of like 15 or 20 rockets flying into one location and destroying everything there. So these things they have been using to Ukrainian cities nearby the borders, like Kharkiv, Sumy, Chernihiv, and Mariupol as well. Now, this is the latest information. They have, on the northeastern part of Ukraine, they have turned them to the opposite way towards Russia and moving to the nearest city. So knowing how they act, we are expecting, and we want to spread our forces. They asked everyone to share it online, because it means they will be doing the provocative situation. They will hit their own city, claiming that Ukrainians have done that. And that is not true. Not ever since I've learned the history of Ukraine, even before the independence, Ukrainians ever attacked other countries for the purpose of gaining their territory. All the wars that Ukrainians participated in were just to protect their territories. No provocative situations like that happened. No terrorist acts in other cities, like, for example, in Moscow or something like that, were arranged by Ukrainians. All we wanted is to be free and to live in our area. Another accusation from the Russian side that we are raising weapons, we are accumulating weapons, and we are preparing to attack Russia and to attack Crimea, to take Crimea with the force. Of course, we would have the moral right to do so, to take our troops to Crimea and to push out all those invaders from there. But it wasn't a plan. We were going to do it with a peaceful, diplomatic way, not with weapon. Yes, we were accumulating the weapon, but for the only reason that Russia was threatening us. We initially didn't want any unions to enter any unions like EU or NATO. We wanted to be like Switzerland, totally independent from anyone. But it was Russia with their war with their terrorist situation in the east and in Crimea in 2014, who pushed us towards seeking support from Europe and from the NATO. Otherwise, we wouldn't be even claiming to enter NATO, because, like I said, we are agricultural country, we are a peaceful country, we do not invade. There is no such thing as forces invading gene in our nation. We are farmers, so to say. That's mainly what we do, but not war. There are countries that earn money with war. There are aggressive nations, but not us. All the steps that we did in this last 8 years situation, we call it terrorist anti-terrorist operation, because we didn't want to declare a state of war to the whole country. We were hoping that those Eastern Ukrainian conflict, although it wasn't conflict, according to any explanation, it was a war, just a local war. And Crimea, we wanted it to be resolved diplomatically. But right now, there is no way diplomacy can be the key to resolving this problem with Russia. Diplomacy is the language that West is speaking, but not Russia. Russian soldier stops where he gets hit over his face. This is another proverb that we are having right now. They do not understand. Just a second. I'm sorry. 1 second, please. I have the. Can you hear me?
Sorry, Roman, we hear.
Yeah, good. So at this moment, we are hoping that our forces will take the action to getting back all the lands, including the eastern ones, and Crimea. What we are asking from the foreign countries. First of all, thank you very much for all their moral support and for supporting our fight with the sanctions and with the actions like spreading the word. Because as it turned out, maybe 58% of Russians support this war for the reason they were brainwashed. They think that there are really someone in Ukraine who are killing the Russian-speaking people who are not tolerant to anything that is Russian. That is totally untrue, because I have a lot of clients of mine from the eastern Ukraine. They speak Russian, I speak Ukrainian. We had very good communication and never had a problem. My relatives speak Russian, I speak Ukrainian. I was even trying to work with peaceful Russians, and it was just this spring that we agreed to help them with their production technologies. I was trying to invite some of you to help them out, but we never had problems with Russian. They are claiming that we are kind of like killing in the central square of Ukrainian cities, torturing the Russian-speaking boy. That's nonsense. It never happened, and it's not the problem. They are thinking that they should interfere into our policy, inside policy, for the reason that, for example, we are trying to getting rid of anything that deals with communism. We have this anti-communism program. We are getting rid of the monuments of Lenin, of the names of the cities, changing the names of the towns to the ones they had been before the Soviet Union, the old Ukrainian ones. And Russians say, how can't we interfere if you are trying to forget our history? That's not their business. They're saying the same about Poland, and thank the Poland, because they are providing the crazy support to Ukraine, immense support to Ukraine. They understand that Poland will be next if Ukrainian is seized. They have been talking, you know, that they have hit the plane with all the country, how do we call, headquarters, not headquarters, political elite about 8 or 10 years ago, flying from Russia to Poland after the negotiations, which were unsuccessful. So they just hit the plane and they killed all the political elite of Poland. And the same thing they were trying to do with Ukraine, but yes, now you see what's happening. So what we are asking, first of all, we need to support the soldiers by these protection things that I mentioned in my video review that I sent to you before. We are currently working, although distantly, but with the Northwestern headquarters of the humanitarian support. They are kind of creating corridor from the Western countries to the front, to the cities where these things, these bad things are happening, to supply the soldiers with the items of protection, like helmets, like medicine to stop the bleed, like the bulletproof vests, the optics, and so on and so forth. Not a weapon itself. Some of those items might be called a double purpose, but still they're not killing. They're to protect. And we lack them because although we were getting prepared, but we have a number of different levels of military protection, military forces. The highest and the most prepared are ZSU. This is the military forces of Ukraine. Then are the territorial forces. the local ones, where the people which are not trained, but which are of the age between 18 and 65, it seems to me, they come and they say, I'm ready to protect my neighborhood. They are giving a machine gun, they're giving a ID, a special ID, and they go around the streets and they protect the order. So due to such a vast and long line of these actions, there are a lot of people involved. There was even such a joke. It's always time for a humor, even in such sad moments. You know that unfortunately bribes is not something strange for Ukrainians, and we have the military obligation to go to army for about a year and a half. Every man was supposed to is supposed to go to do this military obligation. So they were bribing the doctors to not to go to military. But right now, these territorial forces, they are taking everyone who is willing, but everyone who is physically strong enough. So the person who has some diseases cannot join because he won't be effective. So now they are bribing the doctors for them to allow to join these territorial protection forces. This is like something very, so they don't want to do a regular thing, but if it is about protection of the country, they are ready to bribe in order to do and protect. So we are trying to collect everything necessary for this extremely quickly rising number of soldiers in Ukraine. And they are, as you see on this map, the line is very long, especially around Kiev. Kiev is their target number one, and you know that the president of Ukraine is there are about 700 of specially trained hitmen trying to reach him and to kill him, because Putler's idea is to bring back that president who escaped Ukraine in 2014, and that president was already prepared, sitting in Belarus, to go back and to after our legitimate president right now is killed, as they were planning, he would take over the rule and he would be the pro-Russian hand in Ukraine. They were planning to seize Kiev within 48 hours, but as you see, it still didn't happen. And that's what is making them mad, and they're using all their efforts to make it happen, even killing civilians. So I'm not sure if I can use the pen here to show you, but I will try. No, it doesn't show that there is. Aha, here it is, highlighted. So we are creating a corridor from here to Kiev. The headquarters is located over here. And as you know, I have sent two videos. One is for the North American continent and the other one for the European. We have location in Oregon, and we have location right here next to the border in Poland, where we collect all those items. And from there, by trucks, those items, thanks to our business. By the way, they also learned how to do this business in the United States. Nova Poshta, the new post, they have a very good network of throughout all Ukraine. They signed up to distribute between all the hot cities, hot points, the necessary items, picking them up in next to the border in Poland and taking the, if it is the location in Oregon, once the cargo, the container is formed, the plane takes it also next to the border between Poland and Ukraine. that the plane takes there, and it will be distributed as well. I wish it would be uh, not so. I mean, at first I was thinking then bringing those items from the United States might be too long before it ends. Unfortunately, unfortunately, right now it doesn't look that it's going to be very fast end. Of course, we will win. With your help, our guys will stand till they kick out the last Russian terrorist from the territory of Ukraine. But we it will take time. Uh, Numbers wise, they said that all around Ukraine there were about 180,000 of soldiers. About 150 of those entered Ukraine. 10,000, almost 10,000 were killed. You can imagine how much more work to be done, needs to be done. Some of them are running back, and that is true, and that is something good that gives us hope. There are a lot of cases when, for example, the tanks came to Ukraine and they were driving around the village. The local peasant, local civil person comes to the tank and says, "What the hell are you driving around our village?" And the soldier says, "I'm trying to use all of the petrol so that I don't need to go further. I don't have the support with the petrol. I will just walk back. I will have sound reasons to return." So they are moral, yeah, they are demotivated morally, but not everyone. Those are the uh, regular soldiers, but there are those who are trained and very aggressive. Those are trying to hit our president and to get to Kiev. Right now, I just called to a number of my farmers in the Kiev Oblast. They said that we needed to, although they have a very good locations in the villages far away from the highways, but still they needed to escape from there because it's dangerous. Everything around Kiev, the villages that had a very expensive real estate there because they were close to the capital. They are most destroyed in the central Ukraine. And like I said, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, we do not know how many of Ukrainians have died, but we are sure that there are a lot. At least somebody say it's 1 to 2, 2 Russians, 1 Ukrainian soldier. Some say it is 5 to 1. It's, we don't have that information. We just hope it is lowest as possible. But we have already some heroes who, with the price of their life, destroyed, for example, next to Kherson in order to protect his, not his, yes, the soldier from Rivne, from northwestern oblast. He went to Kherson over here, and he was protecting that city. He needed to stop the column of Russian army, and he blew up. He exploded along with the explosives and destroyed the bridge for them not to be able to cross. There is a plane pilot who is flying over Kiev, and he is very, maybe it's a number of pilots, but still they're very effective in destroying the planes that are sending bombs to Kiev and to other towns. So they say that he hit about 20 of them, flying equal planes. So he's flying Su, it seems to 29, and he has destroyed about 20 of Su-29's planes. So this is kind of a reality. We are asking you to spread that information as much as possible because we are not asking for the money. We have enough of the money, and we even for the items that are worthy, we can even pay. mean not we, Ukrainian forces, but those items that I listed with this QR code, this list will be changing always. They are very much needed to support, to protect the soldiers. My social media contacts. Yes, please share it with everyone. The reason why I'm not trying to be involved with money is because there are always misunderstandings with the money. I know that what my task here as one of the members and all the team of Travelite are involved in supporting the army right now. We shifted from all agricultural projects just to look for these items all over the world. So we wanted to keep away from the topic of money. We want to do it most effectively with the items themselves. For example, the bulletproof vests. Yes, you can buy them somewhere, but it takes time and very much it is costly to transport them. So right now our team is trying to start making them. We have steel in Dnipro over here. This is one of the still peaceful places. And in this location here, we have the factory that has been making soft furniture. So they're taking steel right now over here, make these bulletproof vests and distribute throughout all Ukraine. So we are doing anything we can. The farmers are supporting the army with petrol, with the tractors, with everything, with food, but none of them are soldiers. So the soldiers are doing the most dangerous job, and we need to support them. Thank you for your prayers. I have been receiving a lot of questions and a lot of good, kind emails from you. This is helping because we are winning. We didn't want that war. We were standing till the end trying to go the diplomatic way. But now, as they have threatened to the most precious that we all have, to our future, to our kids and to our nation, then we started killing. This is the only thing we can do in order to stop that medieval dwarfy terrorist. And you can't imagine that over 50 million of people truly wish him die the most terrible way. That's not good to be saying that. We are all religious people, but like I said before, I want him to get what he deserved. And after all his actions, this is the only logical thing that he deserved. Because he has been torturing his own people, the people of the countries nearby, like for example, Georgia. You remember how viciously they have entered and started doing the same thing with civilians in Georgia, Abkhazia, and it was just a couple of years ago, about 10 years ago. Then they started doing the same in the east of Ukraine. Nobody would believe that the neighboring country, naming themselves brothers of Ukraine, will start killing brothers. What kind of brotherhood is that? So that's pretty much what I wanted to say. If you have any questions, we will be glad to answer them. Right now, we are here with so me and 8 kids and 7 adults. We are here in what's the name of the town? Krakow in Poland, and we will proceed tomorrow to Munich.
Roman, Jeff Koscheck here.
Yes, please. Yes, Jeff.
How are you? Overall.
overall, we are, waves of emotions. Sometimes we think and believe that everything will be fine. Sometimes we cannot sleep and we need a pill to calm down, especially when we were crossing the border and seeing all those news. That was very, for me personally. I understand that my role here is to take the ladies and the kids to the safe place, but I wish I were there in Kiev.
Yes. It's hard for me.
I understand. There are no words that can express the feelings in this moment. At least 20 children have died because of this. There was a car trying to evacuate from the city, a family, and those bastards just started shooting them, seeing that this is the civil car.
We will do what we can. Please keep in touch, okay?
Yes, I will. Dr. Lewis, I see your text message. If you didn't receive my message with video, I will resend it to you. I will resend also with today's link. You can share it with everyone. We are not claiming that everything that we say is 100% true about the numbers. We hope that the situation is better. But yes, the fact is that at least 5 cities have been torn down with all the infrastructure, and
we see the photos from our relatives that are sending to us, so we cannot say that it's not true, because these are people who are close to us, and those towns, those villages, they are all, some of them, they are almost all destroyed. So this is our vision, and it's at least really close to the truth. And
it is subjective, but
yeah, but we haven't seen all those destroyments, but we have seen them on pictures. So
yeah, we are lucky. But for example, their husbands, one of the team of Travelite team, he went to these territorial forces and he is protecting his own region right now. The neighbors of ours, they went to, because they were military, they went there. My cousin's husband, he went to Odessa, because Odessa is a very strategic city, and Russians, they want this peace as much as they can, and this is a very dangerous location. He works in the radio location and communication forces, so he's responsible for protecting the city from these missiles. He went there, so he's just in the front line, so to say. And he said that he doesn't have the helmet, the bulletproof vest. All he has is a machine gun. That's why we lack those things. And unfortunately, when it will be over, we will need a lot of rehab equipment, crutches and stuff like that. So I will keep in touch with you. Hopefully it will be soon, and it will be not that much, but we will need it for sure. So thank you very much for your support. The best you can do is spread the information. And if someone is willing to send something to those addresses, it will be great. Sharing on the social media this link, which I will send you later, and that video that I recorded is also the best assistance you can make to save lives, yes, and to save the democracy of the world. I'm not exaggerating, and Polish people understand it. Finland understands it. Lithuania, Latvia, Slovenia, they understand that because they are neighbors to this country. Czech Republic, yes. Japan, they also have the conflict islands, the Kurila Islands with Russia. They cannot organize normal infrastructure and normal life for their people, but they are trying to get more and more of the neighbor's land. What's the point? Be the best in your small land than the worst on the full globe. But his logics doesn't
Work.
yeah, there is no logics here. He is like a sick person, and unfortunately very well protected. Okay, thank you very much. We will proceed with our job, and we hope it will be over very soon. Thank you for your prayers, and may God never create the situation on the earth again. May it be the last conflict that will teach everyone what's the right. If the truth, if the right thing wins this time. And we are sure that we will win. Thank you very much.
Thank you for information, Roman. We pray for you. We support Ukraine, of course.
Thank you. Like I said, we feel that support, and we will keep you informed. I'm not that good right now in answering the emails promptly, but I will stay in touch for sure with every one of you.
Okay, Roman, stay healthy, and we get work to the list you sent us. I guess I can give you some information on Monday, Tuesday.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Klaus. Thank you. I hope we will have a chance to show you our beautiful land very soon.
Yeah.
Not to be
Yeah,
revealed.
I would love it. Okay, and bye, and keep healthy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Roman.
Thank you for this, Roman. Hey, Roman,
Yes,
I've had through social media, I've had some requests about opportunities for Australia. So if you have any known points or known groups in Australia, there's a lot of Australians interested in helping. And so if you come across anything for donation points in Australia, share with me, and I'll make sure that gets to that group.
that is very interesting. I think I know the lady, Kristen Jones. She's
Yeah.
a professor. Maybe she can help. I don't have many contacts there, but in Oregon, for example, this is the religious association. They are respectful and they are trustworthy. So we started to work with them. If there is someone like them in Australia who would be able to spend some time for collecting these items and then shipping them with the plane, that's quite a job.
There was some links shared for larger groups, but I wanted to make sure if there was a group that you trusted and knew of, that I would also share that. So there was, when I shared your YouTube, there was actually a lot of conversation from Australia about Singular. So there was some larger links, some larger groups for Australia that was shared amongst that group. But
You can redirect them to me and we will start the discussion. Maybe we can make something. I know they are a very developed country. They must have a lot of those things available. So we will definitely try to make up something. Although it might take longer, but there, even in a couple of months' time, there will be items.
It'll be neat. Bless you guys, and I can't wait to come to Ukraine and spend time with you and your beautiful family and friends.
We also can't wait to return to normal life and planning the physical visits and trips.
Safe.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.